Welcome everyone to this exciting interview segment. Today we have the pleasure of sitting down with Farrah Aviva, star of the Lifetime movie Murder for Mortgage, Secrets on Maple Street. Farrah takes on the role of Ellen. Join us as we delve into Farrah's insights into her character and the challenges of filming this movie. Thank you for being here, Farrah.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Great.
The challenges of filming the movie, we had challenges of having Zoom.
Yeah, exactly. So, can you tell us a little bit about your character in Murder for Mortgage, Secrets on Maple Street?
Yes, so my character Ellen lives in a wealthy neighborhood, and in this neighborhood there are a few other couples, and in every couple everyone has their own little secrets. My character was facing issues with my character. Okay, so my character wasn't faithful to her husband. Um, but in my character's defense, I think she was in a loveless marriage and didn't want to get divorced because of complications and how it would look to her neighbors. So they were trying to stick it out, but she was very lonely within her own relationship. So she started to have an affair for a realtor that was a womanizer. And as much as my character wanted it to just be for fun, I ended up falling for him, and it brought out, I think, a lot of my character's insecurities of triggering that maybe the problem's me and I'm not lovable. So then any anger I had, rather than take it out on my husband, I take out on the realtor. So that is kind of the story around my character as to what's been filmed now. There were 3 movies. My character is mostly in the first movie, and the scripts were written before I was cast. So obviously, which is how all movies go. But so there's 3 movies, and my character is mostly in the third, and then my character slowly, I don't really know where she goes. Like, they start focusing in on the other families, and there's talk of, I mean, hopefully, possibly, there are going to be more of these movies focused on these families, where they'll hopefully be exploring my character's story more, because I find it a very interesting dynamic that hasn't been explored, and there have been talks about it. We'll see. I mean, you never know in this business, but if that were the case, I'm really excited about what would go on with Ellen, because she's a very complicated, like, if you look at my character on surface, you would think that she is your typical woman who is having an affair, and she's rich and doesn't care about anyone else, and the relationship's not working. Like, it's very cliche, but I think the reality is of my character, and the episode that my character's in mostly is called Sex and Lies, which is exactly what my character is, although they're focusing more on another family in that movie. But my character is exactly going through lies and sex, and I think that there's a lot of room for that to be explored, which I'm very excited to do, because I like these complicated characters, because I actually think they're not complicated at all, and it's very human nature. I don't know, I'm just rambling, but I don't know how many people, if you honestly look at the lives of people around you, I don't know how perfect any relationship is. And so there's a thing on society of, if it's starting to unravel, there's something wrong with your relationship. But I like to explore it from the point of view of, what does this say about being in a relationship where you're not supposed to get divorced, and sticking through things even though both of you are very unhappy, because my husband in the movie is very unhappy also. And so I'm in a happy relationship myself in my own life, but I find it very cathartic to play these types of characters, because you can bring in different aspects of multiple different relationships you've had in your life. So that's kind of what I did to pull for this character. because I don't think a person in life can actually make you happy. It's your job to make you happy. So I feel like no matter whoever you're in love with or in a relationship, there's always going to be an aspect of you that's not fully content. And in some situations that's worse than others. But for Ellen, my character's sake, I think it was at the forefront of her mind, but she felt so much guilt and shame about it because she couldn't talk to anyone. And so when you can't talk to someone about your problems, you start to unravel and things become even worse, especially if you can't talk to your partner about it. And that's when the sex and lies start to occur. That's a very long answer.
Yeah. So, and what initially attracted you to this role?
So I have a little girl, I have a 3-year-old, and so I used to act a lot, and then I took a bit of a hiatus because it's just hard to be a mom and work and in this business with the hours that it really entails. But my daughter's now at an age where I'm able to do that more freely, and so a good friend of mine, Paula, was directing it. And she asked me if I'd have any desire to read for one of the characters. And I, of course, said yes. And then it turned out that they were actually going to film 3 of the movies back to back. And I had originally read for Dina, which is a different character in the movie. And I was so happy when I found I got Ellen for all the reasons that I said, because I just love those complicated, you have to be like smiling on the outside, but you're just broken on the inside. So that really drew me to the project, to the point that, I had to have serious discussions with my husband about how are we going to make it work, because we live in Toronto, but it was filming on the other side of the country. How are we going to do it with childcare and with his work, because he also works in the business, but I liked the character and the idea of getting to work with one of my best friends as the director. It just felt like we had to make it work. So those were the 2 biggest draws for me. And then everyone on set, and it ended up being so much fun. It felt like I just laughed every day, because I think it was the first time that, if anyone is a mom out there, they know how it is when you're a mom, you love it so much. And every thought is consumed around your child because they need you. And my child's not in daycare, so until they go to sleep at night, every single thought is revolved around them in some capacity. And so when I got to step away and just be on set, everything just felt so lighthearted, which is actually kind of funny from a professional point of view, is I'd be having so much fun and laughing, and then I would have to go do a crying scene, or I'd have to, you know what I mean? So it was kind of like I'd have to think, oh my gosh, guys, I have to focus. And there were a couple of days where I was just so giggly, I would miss my mark, or, and luckily my friend was directing it, so I didn't get in too much trouble. But yeah, that was basically what drew it to me, was the ability to just go have fun and then explore a character on a deeper level than some of the other characters that I play normally.
Amazing. And what do you think makes this movie so special and captivating, this series of movies?
Okay, so there are a lot of murder mysteries out right now. It's kind of like Christmas movies. Everyone's doing a Christmas movie. Everyone's doing a murder mystery now. It just seems to be the way the business is, because they are 2 different genres that captivate audiences, and it doesn't matter your age. You can watch these and the viewership is there. The problem is they all end up becoming the exact same. So if you've watched one of these Christmas movies, you've kind of watched them all. It doesn't mean they're not enjoyable to watch. And then the same thing with the murder mystery. What I loved about the murder mystery, and then working with Paula, the director, I think she made some really strong choices where there's a lot of comedic undertones in it. It's almost like a Desperate Housewives kind of reality, not reality, but Desperate Housewives humor within a murder mystery. And I've never seen that done that way in this genre. Of course, like maybe really big budget movies or TV shows has that kind of thing to it. But for what this movie is, I have never read anything like that. They were funny, but they were also layered enough within the character dynamics that I was so impressed when I read the scripts. I haven't watched all the movies yet, beginning to end, so I hope that it all translated in the same way. But reading those scripts, I was like, wow, I think there's a lot of promise in these projects. I really feel like it's taken a unique twist on what murder mysteries are. Yeah, that's
Great. And what do you hope audiences take away from watching this movie?
What do you hope people take away?
The message or
That everyone has their secrets and be careful who you share them with because they can then have power and control over you. And if you're going to lie to yourself about your own, like the people around you, things can unravel. So unless you like the drama, you might want to rethink some of your life choices. But some people like the drama, so
great. What was it like working with the rest of the cast on set?
it was great. So I've known Ali Liebert was the lead in Sex and Lies. I've known her forever in the industry. We've never done a movie together, and it's so interesting knowing of someone and crossing paths and thinking someone and then actually meeting them and working with them was incredible. Like she is so much fun, and she's also like a very serious person, but in terms of like she's very focused, but she has your back as an actor. And I think that's so important as a lead actor to feel like if the number one on the call sheet, they set the whole tone for the movie. And Ali did such a lovely job of feeling seen and taken care of and someone you can collaborate with, because I've been on movies where you're not even sure if you can properly say hello to the lead cast because you don't want to encroach on their personal space. And Ali just created this environment that just let all the weight, any production, it's like the first day of school when you go. I should start with that. Nobody really knows each other. You don't want to be overly friendly because you're going to be annoying, but then you don't want to be snobby because then you're snobby. And so this is kind of this like, it's just always like the first half of the day is always just weird, really weird. And then it becomes so much fun if you have a great lead. And that's exactly what Ali did. I remember our very first day on set. It was a huge day. It was one of the funeral scenes. So the entire cast was there and the room was so quiet. No one was talking, which is funny because a lot of us have kind of worked with each other before. Dan Payne, who's in one of the movies, he plays the lead, the doctor in the movie. I've known him for years, but I hadn't seen him in years. And you're just kind of like, hey, it's very interesting. So long story short, there was a great cast where everyone got to reconnect and meet one another on a different level that we've either never known each other on before or changed our perception on who the person was. And I literally, I laughed every day because everyone was just so fun and supportive, which was really nice.
Amazing. And what can you tease about your character journey?
Well,
Without
I mean,
spoiling.
I'm only going off of things that I've heard, but I have hope that there'll be another movie where my character will be more in the forefront of the plot, and it'll be explored. No idea if that would actually happen, but I do know my character is one of the ones that hasn't fully been explored. And so I'm teasing that you're going to get a look at Ellen's self-destructive, cheating, sexual ways that are destroying her family. And who knows what's going to happen from that? Who knows? I don't even know.
Amazing. So, what was your favorite scene or moment while filming this series of movies?
I had two favorite scenes. One is very simple and we shot it very quickly, but there's a scene where I step outside on my balcony and I see my husband drinking out in the backyard. And it was a moment for me to realize not only is my affair not working out, but neither is my marriage. And a complete just raw moment. It's a moment where I don't think anyone's looking at me except the cameras. But you think that you're alone, and it was just this private moment of almost like seeing my own life from a bird's eye view and having a little private cry about it. It would just like open me up to the heart that my character has. She's not a bad person. She is just really lost and trying to figure it out on her own without burdening anyone. And then my other favorite scene was my interrogation scene with the detective, because it was the complete opposite from the scene I just described, where I'm layering it and pretending everything's fine. And like, I'm being asked if I had anything to do with the murder. And I have to have like, I'm drinking Chardonnay and I'm outside in this rich house. And, it's that whole like putting on a facade. But then within the scene, my fear kicks in when I realize I'm actually being interrogated about it. And there's this like that desperate little girl of like, no, 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 please, I'm a good person. And then once I know I'm off the hook, I go right back into that everything's fine, ha 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 kind of character. Like I just really love the layers. And so filming the scene, even you could just feel the different levels and flows, and the way Paula directed it was just so lovely, where you could go there and then pull back. And so it was funny, and it was also raw, and I don't think anyone knows which way the scene's going to go. So those two are my favorite scenes for sure.
Amazing. So, change our subject. What have been some of the most memorable projects you have worked on throughout your career, and why for you?
I have two, definitely.
Okay.
There was an independent movie we did called Welcome to Nowhere that my husband was directing, and my character in the movie gets married. And my husband and I had been engaged for years, like 3 years, and just couldn't plan a wedding because we never knew where we were going to be 6 months from now. And so we would lose our deposits if we were trying to get a venue because we wouldn't be able to make it. And anyways, on a whim, when we were on a location scout, I was helping him on a location scout, and we saw where the wedding scene was going to take place for the movie. We just looked at each other and we thought, why don't we just get married on set? And so we had some of our own friends in the movie, and with 2 weeks notice, our family flew out. We had a few friends there, and we filmed the scene. And when Robin yelled cut, he ran in and took the place of the groom, and we got married. So that's definitely a favorable movie. And then another one would be, it's called The Professor, and it was with Johnny Depp. And even when Johnny Depp was going through all his trials, I got to meet him and make out with him in the movie. That's why it was my favorite. But I got to meet a side of him right as all of that stuff was coming down. And I just thought there's no way he's fully guilty in everything that his allegations. He on that movie set with Johnny, there were a lot of people. He was the nicest, most welcoming person for me, who's like a nobody, you know what I mean? We would sit and have conversations that I'm sure he doesn't even remember me, but in the moment, he was the most connected, sincere person on set. And I always really appreciated that, because it's always like the first day of school and you feel nervous. And anytime I saw him, I just felt obviously excited, but I felt relaxed. Like there was someone that was actually gonna see me and talk to me, and because I don't like small talk, and he would just talk about real life issues. And it was when his manager was suing him, and the Amber Heard stuff was just starting to come out, and my character in that movie was also very complicated. So Johnny Depp, I have to go back and think about this. My husband was having an affair with Johnny Depp's wife in the movie. And so I was unhappy in my own marriage because I had instincts that my husband was cheating on me. And then for Johnny to get back at him, he grabs me and kisses me in front of my husband. And in that moment, in that scene, my character felt seen and loved for the first time. And it was just really fun to play that with Johnny. There is a funny story about it where I knew the kiss scene was going to happen, and I kept preparing myself to, if someone grabs you and kisses you, it's like a baseball being thrown to your face. And so you kind of like clench and you like anytime those kisses have happened with me on set anyway, like teeth bash. It's not attractive. It's not like sensual. And so when I knew this kiss was happening with Johnny Depp, even though my character was supposed to resist him and not want to kiss him, I was thinking like, you have to be a good kisser for Johnny. Like, relax your mouth. And so on the first take, he grabbed me and kissed me, and that was all I was thinking. Like, I forgot about my character. And so then we did the scene, we did the kiss, and then Johnny walks off, and then they yell cut, and then the director and Johnny walk back towards me, and they're like talking to one another and they're giggling. And I was like, what? And they said, Farrah, you're not supposed to want him to kiss him. You looked like you liked that too much. And so I went like purple red, even talking about it. I still get really red. But yeah, those would be my two memorable movies.
Amazing, amazing stories. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, at Survive the Shows, we are big fans of Christmas rom-coms. What is your all-time favorite?
For a rom-com?
Christmas rom-coms.
Oh, Christmas rom-coms. Oh, let me think about this. I know I just watched one. Oh gosh, I'm so bad at being an encyclopedia projects. Okay, well, there's always the classics, like, man, I have no answer for that. I don't know. I don't know which one to suggest.
For Christmas movies, like the one you and your family watch at in Christmas movies all year.
Well, okay, so what we watch is we watch a couple of classics called like The Bishop's Wife. My husband wants to watch every year, which is a classic, and it's always fun. So it'll be on in the background. And then another one that we always watch is not because I want to, but my husband wants Die Hard with Bruce Willis. He thinks that that's a Christmas movie. It's always a debate. I'm like, that's not a Christmas movie.
Exactly.
And then It's a Wonderful Life. Those are the three that we always watch.
Great.
So those are really rom-coms, but those are the three that we make sure we see every year.
Amazing. So,
Yeah.
last question.
Yes.
Can you tease something about your next projects?
Yes. So I just finished filming a murder mystery called it's Ainsley McGregor Murder Mysteries. And Candace Cameron Bure from Full House is the lead of those. So she did a series of movies called Aurora Tea Garden for Hallmark years ago, and they had like 20 of them. And so now she's working with another network now, Great American Family and Pureflix. So they are hoping to do a similar thing. And I lucked out and got to be in the second movie that they did. So the first one just aired last week, and the second one, I'm not sure when they're planning on airing it, but we just wrapped last week. And I play the coroner, which is absolutely different from any character I've ever played. I think, as you can tell from my own personality, I'm a bit more of a quirky, I always play like a best friend or comedic relief or these damaged rich women. Those are my hits. And so to play a coroner, I was so nervous. I've never been so nervous before for a role. They had to come on set during one of my scenes and move my mic because they could hear my heart beating so fast. So anyways, there's a really good script. So my husband got to write the second one. And I'm really excited for that one to come out. And our good friend Martin Wood was directing it. And assuming my performance was okay, I'm supposed to be in the rest of them as the coroner, but we'll see. Maybe I was too nervous. So that's one. And then now I just came to Winnipeg. I landed last night to do a Christmas rom-com. So this is my favorite one.
Yeah.
It's called Renovation Romance. My husband's directing it. And my really good friend Jessica Lowndes is in it. She is the most sweetest, wonderful human. She was in 90210, and she does a ton of these movies, and she's so good at these characters. And just by chance, I never thought I was going to be in the movie. I never thought I was going to play a role, and just some things happened where I got a call that I was actually going to be cast in it, and I was like, what? Because it's filming in a different city. Like, it doesn't make sense for production to hire me, but I mean, it was all meant to be. And then finding out that one of my best friends gets to play the lead. We did a movie together 8 years ago, which is how we met. And it was called Merry Matrimony, another kind of rom-com Christmas one. And on that day that we met, we became best friends instantly. And we had all these dreams of getting to do these movies together all the time. And 8 or 9 years later, it's finally happening. So we go to camera on Wednesday in a day and a half. And I play the producer. So it's called Renovation Romance, and it's about a couple that renovates homes and repairs relationships. And then my character is the producer and best friend to Jessica's character. And so again, it's not I always play the best friend thing, but playing this producer role thing, I'm also nervous about, but it's actually the cutest. It's so funny. It's a really, I have a lot of faith in this project doing really well because the script is amazing. It's really good.
Great. And this is it. All of
Great.
you make sure to watch the series of movies of Secrets of on Maple Street on Lifetime platform. And thank you, Farrah, to join us today.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I hope I didn't talk too much. I'm like, ah.
It's good. It's good.
Good. Okay,
and fun.
Have a great night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.